I played a lot of The Division when it came out. I got close to the level cap, I spent a bunch of time in the dark zone, getting screwed over and occasionally screwing over others, and had a brilliant time. But then I stopped, and I never went back. The Division was a huge success for Ubisoft, but that drop-off is something the sequel wants to address. Its developer Massive wants more people to be playing The Division 2 for longer. So with that said, here are 7 important changes it's making in the sequel to achieve that goal. Even though Washington DC might not seem immediately as iconic as New York City, the shift in location is key to making The Division 2 more varied in almost every way. Creative director Julian Garrity told me that New York gave them 2 separate types of environments, residential and commercial, but Washington DC has 6: residential, commercial, governmental, historic, wide open on the mall, and the nature biome, with Roosevelt Island and all the parks that have overgrown. But these aren't there for simply visual variety, they were chosen to create different types of gameplay. I only got to play in the more densely built up areas of DC, but I'm told how vulnerable I feel while I'm trying to make my way across Washington's vast malls, where there's little cover and an abundance of vantage points for enemies. We wanted to move to a different city to explore different stories, Garrity tells me. He says DC was chosen because of its symbolic potency. It's hard not to see what he's getting at. I mean, look at it. Washington is literally on fire. The Capitol, the White House, the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, all of these things that symbolize America are in a state of collapse. I ask him about the satirical nature of tearing down Washington DC in a video game right now, given the current political climate. He smiles and says, "I have no idea what you're talking about. This game is apolitical." Yeah, right. Some of the biggest changes are coming to the Dark Zone, the Division's PvP arena. In the original, this was a cordoned-off area of central Manhattan, where players would venture to retrieve higher-end loot and, if they wanted to, sabotage other players' attempts to extract said loot. It was one of my favourite things about The Division when it first came out, but as the game matured, it became a mode which catered more and more for the most hardcore players. A series of changes attempts to make this area a little more inviting. First off, there are now 3 distinct Dark Zones located in opposing areas of the map. The Dark Zone will also now implement normalization. Simply put, while the gear you've acquired will still confer some advantage, most of the base stats are squished to level competition. But this doesn't mean that the Dark Zone is being diluted. The intense, aggressive PvP experience is still there, but it's now known as the Occupied Dark Zone. Every week, well, that's the schedule that Massive is currently testing, one of the 3 Dark Zones will be taken over, becoming occupied. In that Dark Zone, normalization is turned off and friendly fire is on, so the Occupied Dark Zone caters for the most hardcore players and promises the highest rewards. In the first game, to retain the loot you found in the Dark Zone, players would have to call in a helicopter by sending up a flare. This would draw the attention from other players who could steal your loot before it was extracted. To make it feel like you haven't wasted an entire evening battling through the Dark Zone, the Division 2 introduces non-contaminated loot, unique gear that you'll find only in the Dark Zone but won't have to extract in such a risky fashion. Garrity suggests that this will stabilise the experience, so not everything is now risk-reward. From now on, your time in the Dark Zone is always going to be rewarded. It's preferable to play the Division 2 with a full squad of 4. To make that easier, the sequel introduces a simplified clan system to connect people and incentivise cooperative play. If you want to buddy up with people interested in mainlining the story, that'll be easy, as will finding those who want to raid occupied Dark Zones on a weekly basis. But also playing in clans will have more tangible benefits in the form of exclusive vanity items, an exclusive location within the new base of operations, and perks that are unlocked only for clans as well. The Division 2 now introduces its more traditional PvP modes: Skirmish, essentially a straight-up deathmatch, and Domination, a 3-point control mode. These modes take place on an entirely separate map. They're still set within Washington, but aren't contiguous with the open world. They're closed arenas. While having the Division's unique array of gadgets at my disposal in these modes was fun, there's not a lot else to really say about Skirmish and Domination. They're similar modes you've played countless times, but with the Division's mechanics. I think their inclusion is telling though. It's yet another way to keep people playing the Division 2, even when they might just want to satisfy those more traditional PvP cravings. Garrity knows that the first game was underdeveloped on the endgame experience, so his team went into the Division 2 saying, okay, endgame is going to be our focus, this is where we're going to deliver the best type of content. Now everything in that game is structured to bring you to that endgame experience, and when you're there, you'll have this wide range of activities available that appeals to a bunch of different types of players. It'll be a while before we know if the Division 2 achieves its goal of retaining players for longer, but these changes, big and small, are working towards that end. Ubisoft is trying to build on the Division's successes while not forgetting to address its weaknesses. It wants a Division 2 to appeal to a more diverse player base for longer. After all, it's more fun to watch a world burn with some friends. If you like this video, why not check out more from the Division 2 with IGN?